Hey there. Ever get that feeling like every invention worth its salt is already, spoken for?
Yeah.
Somebody out there already had that million-dollar idea.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Well, buckle up because we are diving deep into a treasure trove of forgotten innovations. Those almost words, the what could have beens.
Yeah.
We've got a treasure trove of articles and even a YouTube video you sent over that we're going to unpack.
Right.
Everything from ancient Roman ingenuity to like the quirky side of 20th century inventions. Get ready for some serious what-if moments as we unearth these forgotten gems.
I think it's really easy to think about innovation as this straight line, like someone invents A and that leads to B, which leads to C, but like history loves to take a detour.
Totally.
We're going to see some absolutely brilliant ideas that showed up like centuries too early,
Oh, yeah.
and some that maybe, just maybe, we're better off without.
100%. Okay, let's jump right in. First
Yeah.
stop.
Inventions that felt like game changers, total game changers, but never quite hit the mainstream.
And I'm thinking we've all dreamt of this one at some point. Flying cars. Turns out this wasn't just a Jetsons fantasy.
No, not at all. Back in the 1950s, a guy by the name of Molt Taylor actually designed a roadable aircraft. It was called the Aerocar.
Okay.
It had foldable wings, you could detach the tail, like the whole shebang.
Wow.
Talk about a challenge for parallel parking.
That's what I'm saying. Where do you even park that thing?
Right.
Street cleaning's going to be a nightmare.
Oh, absolutely. But as cool as it was, I think the Aerocar really highlights those hurdles that even brilliant ideas face.
Totally. I mean, the infrastructure alone. Imagine needing a runway every time you want to, like, switch from driving to flying.
Precisely. And then you add on top of that the design limitations of the time, safety concerns, and of course the regulatory nightmare of getting a flying car approved for use.
Oh my gosh, forget it. You'd be like jumping through hoops for decades.
It's amazing it even got off the ground, literally.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But it really makes you think about those sliding doors of history. What if the stars had aligned for the Aerocar?
Right.
What would our world look like now?
Totally.
Okay, but speaking of things that never quite took off, let's talk about an invention that promised to revolutionize, and I mean revolutionize, our relationship with fuel. Tom Ogle and his legendary carburetor.
Now this one's a real head scratcher. So in the 1970s, Ogle unveils this carburetor
Okay.
that supposedly achieved an astounding 100 miles per gallon.
Wow.
And to put that in perspective, that kind of fuel efficiency was practically unheard of, and even by today's standards, that is impressive.
With a 1970s engine, that's insane. So
Totally.
what happened? Why are we all still guzzling gas?
That is the million-dollar question, and unfortunately there is not a simple answer.
Okay.
Some argue that Ogle's invention was simply too disruptive, right?
Interesting.
For the very powerful oil industry. They may have seen it as a threat.
Yeah.
And very sadly, Ogle died under some mysterious circumstances very shortly after his invention gained all this attention.
No way.
Yes, fueling all sorts of conspiracy theories.
It's like something straight out of a spy thriller.
I know, right?
Corporate espionage, a groundbreaking invention, a mysterious death. It's got all the ingredients of a blockbuster movie, that's for sure. Whether Ogle's invention was truly revolutionary or just a really good idea that got lost in the shuffle, it really raises this question that kind of echoes through a lot of these forgotten innovations.
Yeah.
What if?
What if, right?
What if? But let's hit the rewind button on history just a tad.
Okay.
Journey back to a time long before cars and carburetors. Okay? We're talking ancient Rome. Get ready for a tale of innovation, intrigue, and just maybe a touch of imperial overreaction.
Ah, you're talking about the tale of flexible glass. This is a story that's been whispered through history, like for centuries. Legend has it that during the reign of Emperor Tiberius, a craftsman presented him with this remarkable invention. A drinking vessel, but made of glass that, instead of shattering upon impact, merely dented.
Unbreakable glass. It sounds like something out of a superhero movie.
Right.
Imagine the possibilities.
Yeah.
Shatterproof windows, indestructible phone screens. So what happened? Why are we all still carrying around screen protectors?
Well, that's where the story takes maybe a darker turn.
Yeah.
According to legend, Tiberius, fearing that this incredible invention would devalue his gold and silver, actually had the craftsman executed.
Oh my God.
To protect his secret, right.
Wow, talk about an overreaction. But I guess some things never change. Powerful people protecting their interests, even if it means stifling progress. But it begs the question, was flexible glass even real, or is this just a tall tale?
I know. That's the mystery, isn't it? While some dismiss it as just a myth, others point to some, intriguing evidence.
Okay, yeah.
There are these ancient Roman texts that actually do mention flexible glass, and there have even been archaeological discoveries of glass artifacts with unusual properties.
Interesting.
So, could these be hints of a lost technology or simply the result of techniques that we haven't quite rediscovered yet?
Right.
It's a question that continues to fascinate both historians and scientists alike.
Speaking of ancient ingenuity and things we thought we understood, what about the Antikythera mechanism? It's like stumbling upon like a smartphone in a Roman ruin.
It really is. It's this incredible, discovered in a shipwreck off the Greek coast.
Right.
This over 2,000-year-old device that's basically like a pocket-sized planetarium.
Wow.
And, people often think of ancient tech as being so rudimentary, but the Antikythera mechanism really flips that script. It used this incredibly complex system of gears to calculate astronomical positions, like we're talking eclipses, lunar phases,
Wow.
even planetary movements with incredible accuracy.
Gears. For real. Not just like, sundials and star charts.
Gears, yep. It's mind-blowing, right? And we're talking dozens of them, all precisely crafted from bronze. Think about it. Over 2,000 years ago, they had the knowledge, the craftsmanship, to create this intricate mechanism.
That's incredible.
It makes you wonder what other technological marvels might be hidden, beneath the waves or buried beneath the sands of time.
It really does. Makes you realize how much we don't know about the past. Switching gears from the astronomical to the, well, fiery.
Okay.
You've got to tell me more about this Greek fire, a weaponized version of those trick birthday candles that relight.
It's one of history's great mysteries.
Right.
We have all of these tantalizing descriptions of this weapon that was used by the Byzantine Empire, this liquid fire that supposedly burned even on water, which made it an absolute nightmare for enemy ships.
Oh, I bet. Imagine being a sailor back then and seeing that stuff heading your way. So what was the secret ingredient? Did they ever figure out the recipe for Greek fire?
That's the biggest mystery of all. The formula was a closely guarded secret, passed down through generations and ultimately lost to history. So we have theories, of course.
Oh.
Some historians believe it might have involved ingredients like naphtha, which is this highly flammable petroleum product,
Okay.
perhaps mixed with things like quicklime or sulfur, maybe even saltpeter, but without that original formula.
Yeah.
We're left to imagine just how terrifyingly effective this weapon must have been.
Okay, let's jump ahead a few centuries, because I am obsessed with this story of the radio hat. Fashion and technology, all in one ridiculous package. Sign me up.
Talk about making a statement.
Right.
Picture it, 1949.
All right.
Here comes the radio hat.
Okay.
It was exactly what it sounds like. It was a hat, often a fedora, with a vacuum tube radio built right in.
A vacuum tube radio.
But-
Weren't those things huge?
You're telling me these hats were sporting bulky batteries, vacuum tubes, antenna, the works? And forget about headphones. It was essentially a boombox on your head. It's a hilarious example of, those early attempts to integrate technology into everyday life, even if the execution was, shall we say, a little clunky.
And talk about impractical. Imagine getting caught in the rain with your radio hat.
Oh, yeah, total disaster.
Okay, from headwear to, well, questionable health fads. Alestra. How did they ever think that was a good idea?
Yeah.
The poster child for, well-intentioned but ultimately disastrous food science.
Right. Marketed as this holy grail of snack foods. All the taste and texture of fat.
Right.
But without the calories or the guilt. They even called it a fat-free fat substitute, which should have been the first red flag.
Oh, yeah. I remember those commercials, chips that tasted like chips but wouldn't, wreck your diet. So what went wrong?
Well, it turns out our digestive systems weren't quite ready for this miracle of modern science.
Oh, no.
People started experiencing a whole range of digestive issues. Let's just say it wasn't pretty.
Oh, I bet.
Yeah.
Our bodies knew something wasn't right.
Right.
It makes you wonder what they were thinking. Maybe they should have, tested it out on a few more volunteers before unleashing it on the world.
Right. It's a good reminder that progress isn't always linear.
That's true. That's true.
Sometimes it takes a few detours into the land of what were they thinking to get to where we need to be.
Speaking of detours, let's talk about the Dynasphere, because giant motorized monowheels never go out of style, right?
Leave it to the 1930s to come up with this one.
Right.
So the Dynasphere was essentially this massive metal wheel,
Right.
big enough for a driver to sit inside.
Okay.
That was supposed to be the future of transportation.
So you're telling me this thing was literally just a giant wheel with a seat?
Essentially, yes. It's as wild as it sounds.
How did it even turn?
So the driver steered by leaning,
Okay.
and the whole contraption was powered by a gasoline engine.
That sounds terrifying and not exactly practical for, navigating city streets.
Yeah, not very pedestrian friendly.
Not at all.
Uh,
What was the thought process behind this invention?
so the inventor, a guy by the name of J. Purves, he genuinely believed that the Dynasphere was more efficient and more stable than traditional cars.
Okay.
He envisioned a world where these single-wheeled vehicles would, just kind of zip around unhindered by the limitations of four wheels.
Right. Right.
Unfortunately, reality had other plans.
I bet. I can only imagine what a bumpy ride that must have been.
Yeah, it seems stability and maneuverability were not its strong suits.
Yeah. I'm going to go out on a limb and say, parallel parking was out of the question.
Yeah, definitely not street legal. Not to mention, I'm guessing you'd be the laughingstock of every town you drove through.
Oh, 100%.
It's a good reminder that sometimes even the most innovative ideas need a healthy dose of practicality.
Speaking of impractical, did anyone ever tell the inventor of the telharmonium that sometimes simpler is better?
The telharmonium is like the perfect example of an invention that was both ahead of its time and hilariously impractical in its execution. Picture this. We're going all the way back to the late 1800s, decades before the first electronic synthesizers, long before Spotify,
Right.
or even radio was a thing.
Wow.
And here comes Thaddeus Cahill with his grand vision, the telharmonium.
Okay, so what did this musical marvel look like?
Imagine, if you will, this massive instrument that took up like an entire room, if not multiple rooms, filled with spinning rotors and tone wheels,
Oh my gosh.
and enough wires and cables to make your head spin.
Sounds like my worst nightmare as an electrician.
Right?
So how did it work?
So the telharmonium was essentially this giant electromechanical organ. By manipulating all these different keys and controls, musicians could generate a wide range of sounds.
Okay.
And these sounds are then converted into electrical signals.
So no sheet music, just pure electrical sound.
Oh.
That's pretty radical for the 1890s.
Oh, yeah. Way ahead of its time.
But how did people listen to it?
That's where the telharmonium gets even more interesting. So it transmitted music over telephone lines. That's right. We're talking about like a precursor to music streaming, but on a scale that boggles the mind.
Hold on. So you're telling me that people were listening to streamed music over a century ago?
They were. Subscribers could call into this central telharmonium station
Wow.
and have music streamed directly to their homes or businesses.
That's amazing. It's like a concert hall in your living room.
Exactly.
So what happened? Why are we all listening to MP3s and Spotify instead of the telharmonium?
Well, for starters, it was incredibly expensive to build and maintain.
Oh, I bet.
We're talking millions of dollars in today's money. And it wasn't exactly user-friendly. I mean, this thing was the size of a small apartment. Plus, the sound quality wasn't always great due to just limitations in amplification technology at the time.
So brilliant idea, but maybe a little too ambitious for its time.
Exactly. But it's this fascinating glimpse into kind of the history of music technology and a reminder that this dream of streaming music has been around for far longer than we might think.
From streaming music to, streaming holy water. You're telling me the concept of, a vending machine has been around since ancient times.
I know, it's hard to believe, but it's true. We tend to think of vending machines as this modern convenience, but their roots go way, way back.
Okay,
And we're not just talking about some rudimentary contraption either.
let me guess. Okay, it dispensed, togas, chariot wheels.
Even more essential to ancient Roman life, holy water.
Get out.
Hey,
They had holy water vending machines. That's hilarious.
it's true. This ingenious contraption, designed by none other than Hero of Alexandria, this is the same mind behind that incredible Eola pile we talked about earlier.
Right, right.
So you would drop a coin into this device,
Okay.
and out would come a measured portion of holy water.
Wow. So even back then, people appreciated a little automation, a little convenience. Talk about a timeless business model, right?
Yeah.
But speaking of timeless, what about Damascus steel? I feel like that name has been around forever.
It's the stuff of legends. So from about the 3rd to the 18th century, this remarkable type of steel, it was forged in the Near East.
Right.
And it was prized for its incredible strength, its sharpness, and these mesmerizing wavy patterns. It was the mark of truly exceptional craftsmanship, especially when it came to, swords and weapons.
So what was their secret? How did they make Damascus steel so strong and beautiful?
That is the million-dollar question,
Okay.
right? The exact techniques that were used to create Damascus steel have been lost. Like, they've vanished. Imagine, this knowledge passed down through generations of craftspeople,
Right.
and then poof, gone,
Wow.
leaving behind only these, like, tantalizing clues in the form of these distinctive blaze.
It's like a real-life lost treasure map. Only instead of leading to gold, it leads to the secret of making, like, super strong, super beautiful steel. Okay, from the ancient world to the digital age, and a blast from the not-too-distant past. The Microsoft SPOT watch. This thing tried to be the smartwatch before smartwatches were cool.
It really was ahead of its time. So, launched back in 2004,
All right.
the SBOT watch was essentially Bill Gates's vision for this world where information, like, found you.
Okay.
Weather updates, news headlines, even instant messages, all beamed straight to your wrist.
Wow, it's wild to think how quickly technology evolves. These days, a smartwatch is practically a mini computer, but back then, it was revolutionary just to get, like, a text message on your watch.
Exactly. But the SEPIOT watch, it faced kind of an uphill battle.
Yeah.
It relied on this subscription service for data,
Okay.
which was a concept that seemed really foreign to most people at the time. Plus, the technology was still pretty limited, and the battery life left a lot to be desired.
It seems like a lot of these forgotten inventions were just a few steps ahead of what technology could actually deliver at the time. But hey, even, like, failed inventions paved the way for future successes, right?
Absolutely. Each of these forgotten innovations, no matter how, like, strange or impractical, represents that spark of creativity, a desire to solve a problem or to push the boundaries of what's possible.
What's fascinating to me is the sheer range of ideas that we've explored.
Right.
We're talking about everything from, like, flying cars to fat-free fat substitutes to ancient computers to radios you could wear on your head.
It's wild.
It makes it clear that this human drive to invent, to imagine new possibilities, it's a constant throughout history.
Totally, totally. And, these forgotten inventions, these little glimpses into the past, they serve as this reminder that there are countless more ideas out there just waiting to be discovered, reimagined,
Right.
and perhaps one day change the world.
That's a thought-provoking note to end on. Who knows what amazing inventions are just around the corner, just waiting for their moment to shine.
Maybe one of our listeners will be the one to bring that next groundbreaking innovation to life.
Ooh. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder those possibilities. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into this fascinating world of forgotten inventions. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and most importantly, keep imagining.